You're LeBron James. You came into the league wearing number 23. Now, eventually, it was to be the GOAT and to be supplanted.
Debate all day. Some people could go with Jordan. Some people could go with Bron. Like I told Molly and Stephen A. Before.
The GOAT conversation in basketball has raged on for decades. Michael Jordan's legacy is built on excellence, dominance, and undeniable respect earned through results. But when LeBron James called himself the greatest of all time, the entire narrative shifted. Suddenly, fans, analysts, and legends weren't debating a legacy created by the people. They were dissecting one promoted by the player himself. This video dives into why the GOAT debate has become so contentious and why LeBron's own words and decisions might have brought the backlash upon himself. Buckle up as we go through direct commentary from respected voices in the basketball world. Make sure you subscribe to NBA Showdown for more brutal truth and hit the like button to keep the conversation going. Stephen A. Smith makes it clear that the moment LeBron entered the league wearing number 23, expectations soared. It wasn't just about playing well, it was about becoming the heir to Michael Jordan. But LeBron's adoption of that number wasn't innocent. That number came with weight, history, and legend. From the beginning, fans and media were forced to draw comparisons, but it was LeBron's acceptance of that mantle that added fuel. By not deflecting those comparisons and instead leaning into them, LeBron planted a flag in the middle of a war zone. Jordan never asked for anyone to replace him, yet LeBron stepped in as if that crown was waiting. This early branding, this image management, made it nearly impossible for fans and analysts to judge him independently. Every playoff failure, every missed championship run, every loss underperformed the standard LeBron willingly aligned himself with. That number 23 wasn't just a jersey, it was a declaration. And because of that, every move LeBron made afterward was measured against Jordan's silhouette, not his own shadow. This was the beginning of a self-created storm.
You're LeBron James. You came into the league wearing number 23. Now, eventually, it was to be the GOAT and to be supplanted.
Kendrick Perkins points to something many fans have suspected for years. The intense nature of the Jordan versus LeBron debate is not a product of media alone. It stems from LeBron's own actions. By publicly proclaiming himself the GOAT, LeBron initiated a wave of scrutiny that few players would willingly invite. What makes this self-inflicted is not just the confidence he showed, but the stage he chose. This was not a quiet statement made in reflection. This was aired on national television, celebrated, and used as a branding strategy. It was a public crowning that overlooked the unspoken rule in sports. Greatness is earned and crowned by others. Players like Jordan, Kobe, Duncan, and even Kareem let the accolades and performances speak. LeBron, on the other hand, verbalized what many had not agreed on, and that created division. This wasn't just about a player claiming to be great. It was about a player rewriting the rules of how greatness is judged. And because of that, it triggered a permanent divide between those who see GOAT status as earned through reverence and those who see it as something that can be declared.
You're LeBron James. You came into the league wearing number 23. Now, eventually, it was to be the GOAT and to be supplanted.
According to Kendrick Perkins, the split between Jordan and LeBron was never just about rings or stats. It was about humility and approach. The very moment LeBron publicly called himself the greatest, something changed. Jordan, who always deflected personal praise toward teammates, coaches, or competition, operated under a code of silence when it came to self-proclaimed legacy. LeBron's announcement, in contrast, felt like a boundary had been crossed. What should have been a comparison driven by fans or sports historians became a competition forced by the player himself. And in that moment, Jordan and LeBron were no longer two greats in the same sentence. They were two different mindsets entirely. One built through external validation, the other shaped by internal declaration. This fracture wasn't a product of their play style or era. It was a result of LeBron bypassing the traditional process of legendary status. Instead of waiting for the torch to be handed, he grabbed it mid-race. And ever since, that act has shaped every narrative surrounding him.
See, when Bron self-proclaimed himself as the GOAT, I think right there was the starting point.
Stephen A. Smith then draws attention to the larger issue at play. LeBron and Jordan don't need to have personal tension for there to be a wedge between them. The reality is that Jordan lives content, rarely interacting with this debate. LeBron, on the other hand, seems fixated by it. The question is not about whether Jordan respects LeBron or vice versa. It is about why LeBron continues to chase validation from a man who has already achieved it all. Jordan never publicly sought out debates about who was greater. He let the 6 rings, the MVPs, the unblemished finals record speak. LeBron's energy, meanwhile, has been spent battling narratives, responding to criticism, and trying to control his own legend. The constant push to match or surpass Jordan has created an environment where every move LeBron makes feels reactionary. That burden didn't come from Jordan. It came from LeBron's own desire to be named the greatest. And that internal conflict, that relentless pursuit of validation, is why the relationship between their legacies will always feel imbalanced.
Jordan's living his best life, and they're not enemies. But it's not about whether or not or they have a relationship or not. The issue is why.
Kendrick Perkins offers a nuanced take by acknowledging that the GOAT debate is subjective and comes down to personal preference. Still, the fact that this conversation has spiraled out of control speaks volumes about its origin. While some may genuinely believe LeBron James is the greatest of all time, the ferocity of the debate didn't begin in barbershops or among fans alone. It was triggered by LeBron putting his own name into the hat, publicly and assertively. This made the debate less about performance and more about choosing sides. The moment a player declares himself the best, it transforms the conversation from admiration to confrontation. Jordan never uttered such a claim, yet his dominance made him the default in most arguments. LeBron's self-identification as the GOAT divided basketball culture into factions. People didn't just pick sides. They defended those sides with emotion, history, and pride. This wasn't the organic evolution of legacy. It was a forced conversation that disrupted how we evaluate greatness. Because of that, any praise for LeBron now gets interpreted through the lens of this debate, which he helped launch. That creates an exhausting dynamic for everyone involved, including LeBron himself.
When I think about the greatest player of all time, it's still LeBron James in my eyes. Some people could go with Jordan, some people could go with Bron. Like I told Molly and Stephen A. Before.
Stephen A. Smith critiques an often overlooked element in LeBron's journey: his resistance to learning from the legends before him. The suggestion that LeBron was unwilling to absorb the wisdom of those who paved the way paints a picture of a star, determined to create his own path at the expense of mentorship. This refusal to build on the foundation left by past greats, especially someone like Jordan, isolates him in the legacy conversation. Rather than standing on the shoulders of giants, LeBron tried to leap over them. The NBA is built on generational growth, on players learning from those before them to evolve the game. When LeBron dismissed that path and instead tried to define greatness on his own terms, he forfeited the chance to be part of the lineage. Greatness without lineage feels hollow. LeBron had the opportunity to be a continuation of greatness. Instead, his actions positioned him as a competitor to the very icons who defined the game. That competitive framing, while bold, also creates unnecessary friction and weakens his position in the GOAT argument.
The opportunities that you had to be a student and to learn and to grow from those who had already done it was something that you didn't appear interested in doing.
Stephen A. Smith also reminds us of LeBron's early career, particularly how he proclaimed himself ready to embrace challenges, only to exit Cleveland when success didn't materialize. That sequence of events still haunts the perception of his legacy. LeBron's claim to greatness didn't align with his early actions. Instead of staying the course and winning with the team that drafted him, he opted to build a super team in Miami. While that move led to championships, it also called into question his competitive resolve. Jordan stayed with Chicago through failure, growing with his team until success arrived. That perseverance became part of his mythos. LeBron's decision suggested he was more interested in controlling outcomes than enduring adversity. That contradiction between his public statements and actual behavior chipped away at the credibility of his GOAT claim. The GOAT doesn't need shortcuts. The GOAT doesn't need escape routes. And when LeBron chose the path of least resistance in those early years, it undermined the narrative he was trying to construct. It was a decision that made people question not his talent, but his legacy-building tactics.
And in those early years, when you had proclaimed yourself to embrace these challenges, but then you couldn't win before departing Cleveland.
In the end, the GOAT debate between LeBron James and Michael Jordan didn't become heated because of their accomplishments alone. It reached this level because LeBron injected himself into the narrative. By proclaiming his own greatness, he invited the backlash, the comparisons, and the endless scrutiny. Jordan's legend grew in silence, built by victories, sustained by reverence. LeBron's legend, while equally historic in stats and longevity, became mired in branding, perception, and self-driven narratives. This isn't to say LeBron isn't one of the greatest to ever touch a basketball. He absolutely is. But the debate surrounding him feels less like a celebration and more like a tug of war because it wasn't allowed to grow naturally. LeBron's quest to be crowned the GOAT may have started with pure ambition, but it evolved into a public campaign that fractured basketball culture. And in doing so, he didn't just challenge Jordan's throne. He changed the very way we define greatness. Whether that was worth it, history will decide. But one thing is clear: the debate, as fierce and polarizing as it is, began with LeBron himself.